See, I'm pissed off because a lot of people out there are acting like they don't understand what is actually happening in the city of Chicago in regards to the ICE raids. Let me tell you something. Black people, again, are collateral damage in this. And all the black people that are getting mad at ICE and Donald Trump, hold on, you got to get mad at the politicians right here locally, because it was the politicians right here in your city that decided to dump the migrant issue on the black community like they do every single time. When they came across the border and checked asylum, they were able to come over into our city and get incentives like medical care, 6 months free rent, free transportation, free child care. We fed them each and every day. And those people that they were giving assistance to, they didn't go up to the north side and to the white community. All of the people out there protesting that are white, they didn't open up their doors for them, and they didn't want none of the shelters on their neighborhood. Guess where they opened up the shelters? In the black community. Those same school buildings that they shut down in 2013 that were educating black kids, they took those school buildings and they made them migrant shelters. And then they gave over $700 million to a company out in Florida to manage those shelters. They took the buildings that you've been asking for to be developed and build new housing, and they made them into migrant homes, giving them 6 months of free rent. They dumped the problem on black community like they do every single time. When it was George Floyd riots, they closed downtown and pushed people to loot into the neighborhoods because they knew that people didn't care. Where was all the people right now? They weren't in our neighborhoods helping us open up back up our businesses. They were not in our neighborhoods helping us clean up. They were.
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of the mainstream liberal media outrage over the Chicago ICE raids, okay? The militarized raid, the raid that the left is calling a military invasion of Chicago because it included Black Hawk helicopters, flashbangs, and allegedly kids in zip ties, right? And also, apparently, an ICE agent said F them kids as well, too, as they were running and screaming, coming out of the building, the apartment complex that was raided by ICE. Now, ICE is saying that they found dozens of illegal immigrants, suspected Tren de Aragua gang members. From the images and the videos that I've seen, it seems as if ICE is telling the truth, that you had these illegals who were living in this apartment complex, and it just so happened to be in a black neighborhood. And instead of the blacks in the neighborhood blaming the Democrats for essentially allowing the illegals, and in some cases just flat out putting the illegals in their neighborhoods to live, no, they're expressing outrage at the Trump administration for getting rid of the illegals, right? We live in a backwards world.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for coming. I want to start with the raid because for so long, the American people have felt safe in their homes from a lot of the things that are going around in the streets, whether it's these immigration raids or the Marines in LA or whatever. But this is coming to the front doorsteps of people in your community, in your city, who are American citizens, who no evidence has been shown that they are a part of Tren de Aragua or even any of the other folks that were in that building a part of that. Talk a little bit about what it is like for the people in that apartment building to feel so under siege.
Well, the tensions are certainly high in the city of Chicago. What the president is doing is absolutely dangerous and unconstitutional. But our position is clear. We're going to remain resolved and firm in our position to protect the rights of all of our residents. What you are describing is something that we have been warning about for some time, that there are a number of people, including the President of the United States of America, that have decided to declare war on poor people and on working people across the country. And this raid that you are describing was on the south side of Chicago, where black folks live. And it is evident that this is not about safety. It's not about deportation. This is about the President of the United States of America and his kind that are looking to stoke and foment chaos and fear within our streets of cities across America. But we're going to remain firm, and we're going to fight back against this tyranny.
So I want to react to CNN, boohoo, whine, and crying about this ICE raid because, of course, the mainstream liberal media is playing into all of the exaggerations and flat out lies about what happened with this operation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Donald Trump wanted American cities to be training grounds, and ICE listened. In Chicago, in the middle of the night, federal agents stormed an apartment building. Black Hawk helicopters, flashbangs, military-style trucks, all used in the raid. Now, witnesses say everyone was detained, no matter their status. Children were zip-tied together, separated from their parents. And the feds say that they arrested dozens of gang members. Also in the city, Charlie Kirk's group was given a front row seat to a raid inside a Walmart.
Amazing. Secretary Noem was here. They rolled up a couple of guys, and it's rowdy. I mean, there's a lot of people around. Everyone's filming. The Secretary of Homeland Security is right now doing raids at Walmart.
So as forewarned, I mean, we have a situation in which American cities are at the center of this ICE crackdown, and there's indiscriminate use of force against Americans, non-Americans, people here legally, people here illegally.
Again, listen to the framing on this. There's indiscriminate use of force against Americans, non-Americans, people here legally, illegally. Again, she's making it sound like ICE is detaining any and everybody on the street that they see, right, doing these operations, which is certainly not the case, okay? So again, just pay attention to the framing of the story from the media.
And on the right, nobody seems to care. In fact, they love it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, I wish that this happened a long time ago. It was long overdue. Okay, I certainly love it.
Video from a local station in Chicago, and residents of a community there were describing an ICE raid and like what they saw. Two things struck me. One, they were talking about things that happened to them. They were talking about how they were treated in this ICE raid. These are the people that, I guess, by virtue of being born here in America, are entitled to being treated like human beings. The second thing is that they were all black. And I'm gonna say something, we saw this coming. We knew the neighborhoods where these ICE raids would take place. We knew that a lot of these things wouldn't happen in Beverly Hills or in Coconut Grove or any of those places like that.
Yeah, because the illegals are not there, dummy. See, I can't stand fake deep people. I'm not going to say fake smart, because he doesn't come off as fake smart. He comes off as fake deep, right? The type of person that I have no idea why he's on CNN. Why does his opinion even matter, right? I don't think he's an expert in politics. He's one of these people that thinks that he's making a very well thought out and compelling point on a topic when he's really not. Okay, he really just shows his lack of understanding of the issue, right? In the sense that the reason why ICE is not invading Beverly Hills and some of these rich white places is because the rich white folks don't allow the illegals in their neighborhoods, right? Liberals, right? Specifically, rich liberals do not allow illegals to live with them, right? You guys remember when the Republicans, Ron DeSantis, sent the illegals to Martha's Vineyard, right? The white liberals, the rich white liberals, kicked the illegals out real quick, right? It was less than 24 hours. They were gone. They were gone. They didn't want them, okay? So the white liberals, Democrats, they put the illegals in black neighborhoods. Why did they put the illegals in black neighborhoods? Well, because they know that black people are going to be okay with it, right? They're going to be totally fine. They're going to keep voting Democrat, right? It doesn't matter, right? There's no consequences for putting the illegals in black neighborhoods. So now that ICE has to invade, right, this black neighborhood, that's not on the Trump administration. That's on the Democrats. Why? Sanctuary city policies. And they purposely decided to put the illegals in these black neighborhoods instead of in more affluent areas. But again, the affluent voters are not going to let that jive, right? They're not going to be okay with it, okay? And those are the people who fund the politicians. The politicians just take your tax dollars, right? They take your tax dollars, okay? And they give it to the illegals. And they put them in the black neighborhoods. And the rich people pay off the politicians to keep taking your tax dollars to give to illegals and to make sure that illegals are not in their neighborhoods while they virtue signal about how they support illegal immigration, right? And how they love the illegals so much. That's how the game works. And the politicians continue to win elections because black folks never, do anything about it, right? They just keep voting Democrat. In fact, Brandon Johnson, the only reason he's mayor is because the black folks, the black people of Southside Chicago decided to vote for him, right? They voted for him in overwhelming numbers because he's a brother, right? Because he's black. And that's what you get. So again, this very low IQ individual, he clearly does not understand this issue deeply. Again, which makes me question, why is it that he's talking about this on CNN when he clearly doesn't understand why is it that ICE is targeting illegals in black neighborhoods? It's very simple, and it's more than just racism, right? Racism is not the reason why.
We knew that there would be collateral damage, that there would be trauma that would be inflicted on our communities. We knew that people would be detained, scared. We knew that children would have to see things that they shouldn't have to see. And all of this for political theater so that we look tough on immigration for everyone. It's a horror show. And I do think if it hasn't already happened, that it'll be something that even the most conservative of Americans will get tired of seeing human beings treated this way. At least
no, I'm never going to get tired of seeing it because I'm never going to get tired of seeing law enforcement, right? We haven't seen law enforcement in this country in a long time, right? We haven't seen law and order in a long time. We just lived through 4 years, 5 years. I mean, honestly, longer than that, of nothing but chaos. It's about time that we actually start seeing some law and order in this country, right? If we can see chaos and destruction from BLM, Roe v. Wade, Antifa, the pro-Palestinians, if we can see chaos and destruction from those groups for years straight, right? If we can tolerate that, I think we can tolerate some law and order.
That's my hope.
The one neighbor said the kids were crying. They looked very distraught. I was out there crying when I seen the little girl come around the corner because they were bringing kids down too, had them zip tied to each other. Saying that there were trucks, military-style vans used to separate adults from kids. What's going on?
What's going on is that you are falling for what clearly and obviously, in my opinion, is a lie, right? If not an exaggeration, right? I mean, come on. I mean, really? Where are the videos of the kids in zip ties? Seriously, where are the videos of the kids in zip ties? I haven't seen any videos of any kids in zip ties yet, okay? It's 2025. If they actually had kids running around in zip ties, somebody would have recorded it, right? We would actually have recordings of it somewhere, but we don't. There's no video evidence of this. So, it's just so funny to me how the mainstream, they're running with this narrative, right? These stories that have not been checked. Nobody has validated whether or not this actually happened. They're just taking it at face value, which makes me believe that, who knows, maybe some of these Chicago residents who are telling these crazy stories, maybe they're in on it, right? Maybe they're in on it.
I haven't seen any of this, so I certainly am not aware of particular neighborhoods that are targeted. Obviously, I support them finding and arresting people who are here illegally. And in the community they're in, again, I can't justify, I haven't seen which communities that they're targeting.
Well, one detail that's been left out is that they were targeting Tren de Aragua. And so Tren de Aragua is a violent transnational gang. They send illegal immigrants here to the United States. They traffic drugs, they traffic people, they commit violence. They inflict misery everywhere they go.
Look at this clown, bro. Look at this clown. He can't stand to hear the truth. He was huffing and puffing when Scott Jennings correctly and accurately stated that, yes, they are going out to Tren de Aragua, right? That's who they arrested. And this dude huffing and puffing, like that's a bad thing. Again, why does CNN allow clowns like this on their network? I don't get it. I really don't understand it.
37 people were arrested. That was the purpose of the raid, the targeting of Tren de Aragua, some of the most violent people in our hemisphere. And when they come here, nothing good happens. That was
okay,
the point.
so if it was targeting, I don't think anybody has a problem with targeting. Right. When you clear out an apartment building and you zip tie children and you arrest and detain everyone. Scott, hold on, Scott. You and me, we're talking here, okay? If they arrest children, they arrest everyone, citizens and non-citizens, for hours, detain them, deprive them of their liberty, for no matter how long. You are fine with that.
They didn't arrest children. But
I didn't say they arrested them. They put them in zip ties. But if that makes
allegedly, that's what they did. But again, this this is such a low IQ conversation. I cannot believe that you have to explain to grown ass adults on national television that when ICE invades an apartment complex, right? When they target an apartment complex, you cannot let anybody out of the apartment complex. You're talking about a gang operation. If they suspect that a gang operation is taking place in an apartment complex, you have to secure the whole apartment complex at one time, right? You cannot be going door to door to door, right? Looking for gang members one by one at a time. That's not how it works. You can't do that. And the reason why you can't do that is because you are essentially letting the gang members know that, hey, they're here and these people are going door to door. You give them time to get away, to escape. When you conduct an operation at the apartment complex all at one time, you target the apartment complex as a whole and you detain everybody in there. You make sure that nobody can escape, nobody can get out, right? Then you are maximizing your chances of actually catching your target and for the officers to stay safe and not get hurt because they secured the building at one time, right? These people, again, have no idea whatsoever how this stuff works in the real world and why they do what they do. They just boo-hoo, whine, and cry without having a clue, right? Having a clue how these operations actually occur and why they're occurring the way they're occurring. So despite the propaganda here from Abby Phillip, this operation was targeted. It was about as targeted as you could possibly get. No, they're not going to be going to each individual apartment all at one time and saying, hey, is Tren de Aragua here? No, they're going to secure the whole building. Okay, they didn't shut down the whole neighborhood, right? They just targeted one apartment complex.
The difference to you, go ahead.
Here's what makes a difference to me. If the federal government knows that there is a nest of Tren de Aragua in a city like Chicago, they have a responsibility. They have an obligation to go get them. It is unfortunate, to answer your question, that there are children put in harm's way by these violent gangs. But that is going to be the reality.
Or is it unfortunate or is it a violation of their rights is the question? Because, I mean, in this country, we have rights against searches and illegal searches and
you're suggesting these children should be effectively human shields for Tren de Aragua, and I don't agree with that.
Hold on.
That is what she's suggesting. That's exactly what they're suggesting. They're using the kid. Well, but the kids. Okay, so you don't want us to go get Tren de Aragua? You want the kids to be living with gang members? Is that what you want? Right? That's what you want? Again, these people make me sick. They make me sick. This is why I can't stand them. And again, there's nothing good faith about this. They're just crying to be crying, right? There's nothing to cry about. The kids were not arrested. I don't think they were in zip ties. I don't believe half of the stuff that some of these people are saying. All I know is that they got Tren de Aragua gang members. That's all I know. That's what they claim, and they look like it, right? They look like it. That's what I know. That's all I care about. All this other stuff is nonsense.
Make it clear. I know that Tren de Aragua and gangs and whatever, it's a catch-all to treat people however you want, to go in there and shred the Constitution or whatever else it is that you want to do. What I'm asking you is this. Do you think that children should have been zip-tied and pulled out of an apartment complex and traumatized like that? Yes or no?
I don't think children should be put in harm's way by transnational gangs.
Just answer the question. Yes or no? Do you think that children...
I don't accept the premise of your question.
I'm asking
the
you
government's not
whether
putting
or not...
children in harm's way.
Show the evidence. That's what I would say. Where's the evidence? You're just believing what the media is saying. Where's the evidence? Where's the video? Where is the photos and the video of the zip-tied kids, right? Zip-tied kids has become the new blue and on conspiracy, right? This is the new one they got. Zip-tied kids, right? This is the new one. This is the new one.
De Aragua.
Real calm now. Real calm. Like
they're the ones putting children in harm's way.
Gentlemen and gentlemen, we have a responsibility for the way we treat people with the power that we have here in America. And we have a standard that we should treat human life with. And I'm asking you very clearly, concisely, should children be treated that way? Does Scott Jennings like that?
I don't accept the premise of your question.
All right, cool.
I don't believe that the premise of your question is accurate. I would ask you back. Should children be allowed to live in an apartment building with Tren de Aragua? Should the entire community of Chicago have to live with Tren de Aragua because they hide behind these children?
But here's the thing.
That's my question.
I think the answer to that is clear. No, they should not be put in harm's way. But the difference is in this situation is I don't want to be Tren de Aragua. I don't want my law enforcement to act like Tren de Aragua. That is the distinction.
You don't want to leave it? Do you just want to leave it and say, well, they have kids in there, let's just move on?
No, but can't law enforcement figure out a way. I don't think this is the first time children have been in an environment where dangerous people have been around them. And I'm most certain that in most of those circumstances, those children aren't zip tied and carried out like animals.
Again, in this situation, I mean, there's no evidence to prove that happened, right? This is just what liberals are saying. But again, would you rather the kids stay with the gang members forever than to be temporarily subject to being zip tied by law enforcement while they clear out the gang members? Again, what's a better outcome for the kids? Is it better for the kids to be temporarily subject to this raid, right, in order to remove gang members, or for them to just permanently be around gang members? Because I'm pretty sure if they permanently stay around the gang members, worse things are going to happen to them than to be temporarily zip-tied by ICE agents. Again, these people, this is such a low IQ conversation. I really don't understand how they have a conversation like this on national television at this low of a level. Like, this is low-level stuff, okay?
What I am wondering is, okay, let's put this fact pattern on any other placement. Let's put it on a school, right? What if there was a gang member in a school? And by this calculation, it would seem like the children in the school, in order to get that one gang member or two gang members,
handcuff the whole biology
It's not
class.
one gang member. It's 37
well,
people in an apartment
there's
building.
five.
It's a large apartment building. That's part of the fact pattern here. I mean, here's another one from our reporting. Tenants said it appears everyone in the building was detained by federal officers, including U.S. citizens. It was scary, said one, because I had never had a gun in my face. That person lives in the building. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me, did I have any warrants? I told them, no, I didn't. Fisher, this person says, she was handcuffed anyway before being released around 3 a.m. and was told anyone with outstanding warrants, even if it was unrelated to immigration, would not be released. So people live in apartment buildings all over this country.
I promise that.
Is that where
Wait a second.
Should I just go to an apartment building and hide?
Wait. I'm talking about the way that citizen of this country was treated. By the way, I just want to be clear. I think that everybody that's created in the image of God should be treated with respect. And I thought that part of the American ideal was that, but that's gone. I promise y'all will still be invited to Mar-a-Lago if you say that it is wrong that children were zip-tied and that American people, American citizens, were detained without any warrant or suspicion.
Briefly detained? In an effort to get 37 Tren de Aragua members?
So tell me,
what you're suggesting is that no enforcement can take place.
So would you be okay being detained so that the gang members, would you be okay with your rights being violated and you be held until 3 a.m. with your family member not knowing why? Is that okay? Because that's not okay with me.
Everybody here seems to believe that if you're Tren de Aragua, you can go hide in an apartment building, and because there are other people there, you just get to be left alone. That is not a reasonable enforcement position.
There's another option here, and it's actually an option that's utilized by law enforcement every single day in this country. When they are looking for violent people, they go look for those violent people. They do not subject the people around those violent people who have nothing to do with them with arrest, with guns in their faces, with being searched.
That literally happens all the freaking time. All the freaking time. That's literally how it works. If you're a criminal living in somebody's house who's not a criminal, that doesn't mean that the person who's not a criminal isn't going to be subject to the consequences of what happens when you live with criminals, right? Because police aren't going to say, well, this criminal is living with somebody that's not a criminal, with an innocent person that has nothing to do with his criminal lifestyle or the crimes he committed. So therefore, we're just going to leave it alone, right? We're not going to execute a search warrant, even though we have the ability to do so, right? We're not going to do it. No. Again, this is such a low-level conversation because this is typically how it works in any other situation. It happens. This is not the first time that law enforcement has had to raid an apartment complex or to lock down an apartment complex or a large building or whatever in order to conduct the operation. It happens. It happens. That's just what they got to do. It is what it is.
With being zip-tied and handcuffed and detained every day in America, law enforcement does their jobs and they don't do it like this. So why is suddenly
They literally do it like that. They will do it like that. Again, CNN might not cover it, but it happens.
Every day in America, you're not necessarily dealing with the most violent people in the hemisphere.
Yes,
we're not.
That's
So
who
it's
is living in these cities.
Scott, there are violent people who are right here in this country, American citizens. They are in gangs. They were born here. Their parents were born here. Their grandparents were born here.
Believe me, we know.
Those people are dealt with by law enforcement every day. Again, it's a real basic question. If you lived in an apartment building and there happened to be somebody who was guilty of a terrible crime in that building, and law enforcement barged in, guns blazing, and put every single person in that apartment building under arrest, you would be fine with that, including you and your family.
Not everybody is under arrest. They arrested 37 people. They arrested 37. You said everybody. It's not. It's 37 people.
This person was sleeping in their bed, and they were detained. They were put in handcuffs and detained until
Neither you nor I was there.
Neither
you nor I were there.
No,
but I know this. Now 37
you and your family,
violent people are now off the street.
Scott, you and your family, you are in an apartment building.
Bro, if a murderer is in my apartment building, right? Then yeah, I would totally be fine if police had to temporarily detain everybody in the apartment building in order to get the murderer. I would totally be fine with that. Because again, the police are going after a murderer. Now, I mean, it's a little bit different if you're talking about, going after somebody that committed a petty crime. But if you're talking about a large gang that commits murder and violence, I would welcome having police get rid of those people rather than have them live in my apartment complex. Again, these people will turn around and tell you how much they love black people, they care about black people, the black community, but they're literally advocating for gang members to be able to stay and to freely operate in the black community. It's insanity. It's absolute insanity. These people don't hear themselves. You're literally saying, no, it's just better. It's just better. It's just better for Tren de Aragua to be able to freely operate in the black community rather than for these black citizens to be subject to, at most, a couple of hours of being detained and to get rid of all these gang members, right? To make their apartment complex safer in the long run. Nah, just leave the gang members there, right? Because kids and zip ties, that's the absolute worst thing. Absolute worst thing that can happen to these kids, right? Not being around gang members, but being zip tied for maybe 30 minutes. Who knows if it even happened at all. This is, wow, incredible. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.